Good evening, all, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast downstairs. We are just three weirdos locked in a basement who just absolutely love horror. We're going to talk more about that, but first we're going to go around the table and introduce ourselves. I guess I'll go first and take a stab at it. When I was 6 years old, I had this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. They spent 8 years trying to reach me, and then another 7 to keep me locked up because they realized that was living behind my eyes was purely and simply Glenn.
Man, they call me the boogeyman, but it's not what it's meant to be because it's too expensive to have a full sheet. So a pillowcase works just fine, and I am Claudio.
I'm so glad that Michael Myers has enough aliases that I can not repeat you guys and still call myself the Shape, known as Joe.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
Was it the glasses?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, that Michael Myers. Okay. Sorry, I always get the two confused. That's right, we're talking Halloween today.
Yes,
we're adding
yes.
another entry into our, what we've affectionately kind of co-opted from Shudder's naming conventions as SLASHICS.
Yes.
The original versus the dreaded early 2000s remake. Where do they stand, good or bad? We're going to answer all of these questions. That was only one question, but we're going to answer all of them. You have a question? We're going to answer it.
Yeah.
All right, so where do we want to begin with this? Like, where do we want to jump off? Because obviously we're starting with the classic Halloween of 1978.
1978, the classics.
So
John Carpenter, director, music, produced by Deborah Hill, cinematography by Dean Cundy, and with a lot of names to come that have just started. We have Jamie Lee Curtis, who we all know now as
the yogurt lady. And also the lady with the massive talent.
You better stop.
I don't know, that one commercial she did, I was just like...
And plenty of other names that surprisingly exist in horror more than just Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll touch on them as we go along. There's just a lot
Absolutely.
of joy in this.
I was going to say, you described like the SLASHICS series that were, putting forth so well with just like, again, looking at the awesome original and then the very dreaded 2000s remake, which is just like a funny trend of the 2000s that we, really just kind of get a kick out of. However, in this case, I'm gonna like go to bat for Rob Zombie. Like, spoiler alert, but I was not a fan of that remake, of that reboot, whatever we want to end up calling it. But no, as far as like setting expectations for structure or whatever, I figured we would, spend some time with the original, then spend some time with the 07 version.
Absolutely.
And then just kind of, lightly compare and contrast. Like, and as always with these big franchises, I guess like we can allow ourselves to touch on any other.
Anything that stands out.
Wait, are there other Halloween movies?
Oh boy.
There's one or two, maybe.
Oh, like I know there's 1, 2, 3, and then the reboot. What was in between that?
I was gonna say, I gotta double check on my list here, but is it this or
What?
Well, is it Myers or Voorhees that has the most in their franchise?
Oh.
It's like,
Well,
we're up to
Halloween-
like 13 now with Halloween, right? Is that it?
Good Lord, probably Halloween.
I was gonna say I have it on my,
Especially
I
with
didn't
the
want to cheat, but
probably
I want to
with
say there's 13.
the most recent 3 being added. I think Halloween has more now. Yeah.
13. Because I'm totally not looking at my cheat sheet right now, where the timeline went 1, 2, 4, 5 curse.
Well, hold on.
That's 5.
So wait. So we have.
Kind of offended that you didn't bring up 3.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
no,
it is.
no,
Okay,
You're
it
talking
is-
Michael, yeah.
We're talking timelines. So
Yeah.
like the story follows that way. It then breaks 1, 2, H2O.
Oh.
Resurrection.
Fuck yeah, I forgot about that.
It goes 1 to the 2018,
Yeah.
and then follows that trio. It's
Oh, yeah, you're looking at like a family tree. Of
oh yeah,
movies
no,
here,
the cheat sheet that I have is the family tree.
That's really cool.
Well, it's fun because essentially, like whoever hops on board, whether it's the more recent trilogy of David Gordon Green, right?
Yes.
That's correct.
The
always forget the
comedy
three name
director,
folks.
yeah.
But like whether you're looking at like their stuff or the H2O and then Resurrection sort of non-related duo of like the late 90s,
Yeah.
or you have like the original 1, 2, 3 is an outlier, and then you have like the 4, 5, 6 Thorn trilogy. No matter which one
Yeah.
you're looking at, it's essentially like, okay, we all count the original. And then which sequels are we not counting? And then like everyone kind of just goes from
Which
there.
blows my mind that it's like 2 doesn't get like factored into that. Because 2 is like a direct follow-up sequel. It takes place literally minutes after the first one ended.
well
I feel like 2 gets a lot of hate, and I feel like it's
I like
since
2 a lot.
I think it's since been reassessed as being like, you know what, relative speaking, like
Yeah.
this is actually
Anybody
very
who's
solid.
ever talked shit on 2 and then like back the new Strangers movie can go right to hell.
and you know what's funny? You know what's funny about that? Didn't like the concept of Strangers 2, and who didn't like Halloween 2? This guy.
Fair enough.
So
That's an equal opportunity hater.
Now, to be clear, you're saying that you didn't enjoy the original Halloween 2, not to be confused with the 2009 Halloween 2.
Correct.
No. That's Halloween Kills.
So this is
No, that's the third.
not to get like lost in the weeds or whatever, but I
Yeah.
feel like this is like a worthwhile point of contention to bring up because we were discussing recently, like in our rewatch, doing our homework, like where can we find these various Halloweens? And like they're all more or less available in a lot of different ways, but like it's a pain to find them because they're all Halloween and like there's numbers in common, like
Yeah,
and there's Roman numerals versus like
you gotta
you gotta
factor
know-
in that date. You
you know, I
gotta
gotta
put
get
the
the
year
year.
in there.
And it's just like even still, like I found, I was telling you, like the Rob Zombie 07 remake, but like that was harder to find than his sequel, the 09 Halloween 2 of his.
When I was trying to track down Rob Zombies for streaming, like I was like, let me see if I can find it for free somewhere. And it was like I went searching so hard that I ended up on Tubi with like the poster for Tubi saying it's going to be available September 1st, 2026. And I'm like, set a reminder? I was like, why the fuck would I set a reminder for that far
Get
in
ready for
advance?
next Halloween.
I'm just gonna get like a fucking bleep on my phone and go, oh, it's available. It's just bizarre.
Yes. I'd say confidently from our intro faces that we show a love and appreciation for the iconic original.
Absolutely.
And the path it has created for itself and for not copycats, but like the legacy of the slashers, the Final Girls.
And copycats and complimentary, like
Oh, yeah.
it's absolutely become one of those like someone watching this movie for the first time going, oh, it's so tropey. It's like, nah, man, this is where
This
it
is where the
came
tropes
from.
came from.
And that's something that's gonna come up so often in the SLASHICS conversation of like, the tropes. It's like, but this is what fucking made it. And then we see how it kind of may or may not have gotten shit on later on in the 2000s.
Absolutely.
I was so relieved. I think it was last summer and then this past fall that I kind of like completed my Halloween education, like specifically this franchise, not the general holiday. But I think it was last summer that
It's
I
at the end
finally.
of October. It's crazy. Every year.
Last summer, I finally got 4 and 5 handled. Like I had never seen 4 and 5. I think they were sitting on Shudder, so I was like, boom, all right, got those done. And I watched them back to back, and I didn't feel good at the end because those are not like. I mean, they've also been kind of like reclaimed in a very tongue-in-cheek way. But
Yeah.
like when I was watching it for the first time, and I was like, ooh, okay, the return, right here it comes. After the experiment of 3, and I was just like, oh, there's a lot of bright shots here, and just not a lot of the stuff that I would, want to see in earnest. But, there's a lot to be...
starts changing harder and harder every time, and it's like, oh man.
But then
it
fast
actually
forward...
just becomes plastic face, and it's weird.
Fast forward to just this past Halloween, and you and I, Glenn, found ourselves at a friend's wedding, and we were just hanging at the hotel in our separate rooms. We're texting each other what's on various cable stations because we were there for Halloween night. And it was just so funny. I was like, ooh, AMC's got Halloween 5. And I was digging it then because
He texted me. I was like, I'm already on it. I was like, also, did you see Ghostbusters is on the other channel? He's like, I did see that.
We had a lot of good options.
We were
on
hopping
cable.
back and forth between the two.
Halloween cable is a good cable.
I love that.
Commercial comes on, you flip back to the movie.
So again, just another reminder that it's all about expectations, right? If you're looking, hard and looking forward to something, be prepared to be let down potentially. But then, if it's just you got nothing nothing to lose, Halloween 4 and 5 might do the trick. I was also very tickled by what was it, Curses number 6?
Curses, yeah.
Introducing Paul Rudd.
Oh, baby Paul Rudd. And also even more magic this time now.
And by then I was rocking with it because I was okay, 4 and 5 was terrible.
We're
but
so
at least
far
now
off the rails. Get creative with it.
At least now we're getting weird into this conspiracy society and all that jazz, and it was very silly.
A game of yes and it just gets and.
Yeah, the Thorn trilogy really did jump off of a fucking railroad track. It was just let's go so weird with this.
I think the Thorn trilogy is hilarious to watch because 4 and 5 very much are just sort of trying to recapture the old glory, do the old tricks, but it's very uninspired. Thank God Donald Pleasence is at least hanging out. Because it's hilarious how they named the new kid Jamie, after Jamie Lee Curtis, the actress that you know and love, not the character that she played.
It's not meta at all.
And that they would kill Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie, off screen, but follow her daughter.
Bonkers.
That was ballsy to but whatever. You kind of get that on a practical level. But then for 5, you're still just chasing around nobody connected to the original except poor old Jamie, and it's the next day, and no one gives a shit, and she's barely getting looked after. It's so
you
funny.
didn't know you're the third cousin of your stepfather's cousin roommate once removed from the mother's side in college.
It felt very much
That's why he's after you. It's wait, really?
Why is my family photo folded up? Michael!
But then in 6, okay, this these men in black and these folks with tattoos are showing up and breaking Michael Myers out of jail and stuff, and so that kind of I don't know, kept me intrigued for 6, which I finally got to more recently, and whatever. But by then, the silly factor was high enough where I was ready to get weird.
Yeah.
It was the to jump off of our previous SLASHIC episode with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I feel Halloween 6, the Curse of Michael Myers, is very much
next generation
parallel to Texas Chainsaw Next Generation.
You know what? There's aliens, Illuminati. There's also okay,
it's the one they got real weird with.
We can't do that because Texas Chainsaw already did it. So let's do secret society cult.
But
and
it also came after it wasn't the next sequel. It was after they tried sequels a couple times and it didn't take any of those times.
Yeah.
So I like those parallels.
Poor John Carpenter. Well, that kind of brings me around to the incredible question. Obviously, Halloween is a very near and dear movie to all of our hearts. I feel anybody who's really into horror always has a soft spot for this movie in some fashion. How did you guys get into it? What was your introduction into the movie Halloween, the original?
For me, I can say that slashers in general were very much a thing I was aware of before I ever watched the movies. You know what I mean? Just being a child who's aware of Halloween. You know what I mean? I was watching, I can remember watching the Ghostbusters cartoon Halloween special when I was still living on Long Island, when I was 5. You know what I mean? Before I ever got to,
I had so many of
Freddy
those
Krueger
Burger
or
King action figures from that show.
So that's what I'm saying. You're if hopefully you have, a family life where, you get to do fun things and frivolous stuff and whatever. Hopefully, you're getting pushed out the door to go trick-or-treating at a pretty young age, because it's like a very fun thing and a, great kind of cultural tradition, yada yada, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But like, we're dressing up still as like fairies and firemen and like, happy ghosts way before we start putting on, ghost mask and
the
bring out the bloody.
I mean, the older I get, the earlier I'm seeing it happen now. Where it's like you just see like 5-year-olds dressed up like Ghostface now, and it's like,
Chucky.
do you know who that is?
Not in my life.
You don't know who that is.
Not in my life here in the basement, obviously, but in another life where I might be an educator of sorts. Like there are, costume parades, at that time of year.
True,
and, like,
yeah.
So many of them, I'm like, oh, that was a costume that your parents provided. I'm pretty sure you don't know who, ABC is.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're only like 4, 5, 6 years old. But
yeah.
Regardless.
And it's like the iconography of it is like, it's so striking. It's like, that is one of those core Halloween costumes that it's like, oh, you see Michael, you see Ghostface.
You see a mechanic suit for mine. You see a white mask. You see just a kitchen, like.
And speaking of costumes, I think it speaks to like the sort of like do-it-yourself, independent, low-budget resourcefulness, inventiveness of horror in general, but slashers in particular, right? Like it is just a jumpsuit and a mask.
Yeah.
Specifically, William Shatner mask. They spray painted white, right? Like that was the origin or whatever. So
Don Post Studios, 1978. Don't ask me why I know that one.
It's meant to be accessible. It's meant to be easily replicable.
Yeah.
So again,
which adds a sense of tangibility to it. Like, is that a word? Yeah. It adds a sense of tangibility. I'm going to double down because it feels more real, because it is something that you can just like, oh, I'm just going to grab that.
And I think much like when we were discussing like Alien and Predators, Alien in particular, like I'm seeing parodies of it and references to it in like The Simpsons and sitcoms, like before I may or may not have actually gotten to the movie. So yeah, in terms of like first encounters, it was probably trick-or-treating. It was probably like commercials on cable for like, the Halloween marathon on TMC.
You almost assuredly watched like a Treehouse of Horrors before actually watching the movie.
So I'm trying
like, oh yeah.
I can't pinpoint mine personally either. I feel like I'm on the same boat as you, where like I saw it out in the wild before I actually sat down and watched it. Or like say when, cable was a thing, that like, I'd see like snippets of it, but I was too scared to like watch the whole thing, because like, and like not to dive too much into like the actual movie, but just the essence of like tension and suspense and someone who doesn't talk and is just a presence and those things, like, and like you said, how it's like common things, like this is something that someone could just put on and do without even thinking about the lore of the character. So like,
I can't wait to get into like each of yours takes on the lore, and like how supernatural is your headcanon, how not, you know what I mean? Like
that's gonna be a fun brain,
because there's a lot of different ways to go at just about Michael Myers, again in light now of like its legacy and its his influence. But I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm very excited to get into that.
I just got so fun because that is like a point of.
But yeah, I think me too. I was out in the wild experiencing it before I could put a name to the face. And then from there, just piece it together, just growing up. Like how we talked before about going to like the Blockbuster and seeing the horror section. Those, you know.
See that cover? That cover's fucking iconic.
Exactly.
You see anything with just like a pumpkin on it, and you're like, ooh, baby, here it is.
I was going to say, like, all that being said, I do have a specific memory of like sitting down with it, but like I was an adult. It was like, I don't know, the 2000 teens at some point. But I'm pretty sure I had watched the original multiple, like a handful, but multiple times in bits and pieces on cable throughout high school and probably college, but I don't have like a specific
I want to say like since 1999 it's almost always been on AMC at some point.
Yeah.
Well, and that's one of the benefits of this is the fact, like, you know, it was, you know, one of the first.
It's cable TV accessible.
But again, like the rights for this, you know, probably went into syndication like pretty damn early. You know what I mean? Like we were already getting like the second wave of you know, sequels in the 80s. You know, so like I don't know. I feel like it was out in the world very quickly. People got their hands on it, and like it was like we know it was an immediate hit, right? It was a success, I think, right out the gate. Wasn't it making like money?
If I remember the trivia fact
not big
correctly,
money, but like no one was shit talking it. Everyone was like,
no one was
look
shit
out.
talking it, but I feel like a lot of people were very confused with the release.
Oh, okay.
So they weren't entirely sure. So it was kind of a split critical, and it was like it made enough to clear because it was very low budget.
Again,
but then it was
Hashtag
like
independent.
yeah,
Yeah. And
because this was John Carpenter's 5th movie.
Ooh,
5th.
Good on you. I did not. I
Yes.
was not aware of.
Previous to that, he was doing like fucking like cult B movies. Like they were just like weird like Dawn of the Venus Red Emperor type thing.
I can't
it's like,
remember
No, no,
what the one. There was
no.
something about like. Or sorry,
Go.
go.
No, I was just
I'm
gonna say,
looking for the
so
movie.
many of like the great like '70s filmmakers. What were they doing before they were like making waves in the '70s? Well, if they weren't like hitting their debuts, then they were doing like either the silliest sci-fi like giant ants on the moon type stuff, or they were doing like softcore like not exactly
I
porn.
want to say it was Fulci if I'm remembering correctly.
Oh well, hey, I'm not even talking about the Italians.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who get real raunchy with it. But no, I'm talking
I
like.
want to say it was Fulci. I think me and my buddy Jim were just talking about that he was like, oh no, he straight up like directed porn for a
Oh, that
while.
was straight absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, I'm thinking more like Scorsese and Stone and Kubrick.
Yeah.
Like, that was the stuff that they were getting up to in the 50s and 60s. Like, it was very much like, I don't know, slumber party secretaries. Like, that type of weird
Yeah, it's
stuff.
like there's a bunch of guys sitting in a room like, come on, yeah,
beach party.
what we're gonna do is we're gonna show a lot of women and they're gonna be topless.
Or not even. Like, it was even like, like beach party, whatever. And
Yeah.
like, that was it was those type of things that I would see on IMDb when I would look up directors. So I couldn't remember offhand like,
Yeah.
what John Carpenter was up to before Halloween. 'Cause
Yeah.
that was
I
obviously
saw
what
on
made his name.
Precinct 13 was one of the ones I was thinking of. That John,
Yes.
that was one of his before.
And that was, okay.
His before time one.
That's one of the more ones I think he would, claim authorship, whereas not as much.
Yeah, like he has another one. I think it's like called like Dawn of the Venus or something like that, or it's something in that realm of like
Dark Star.
There it is, Astro Body something.
I've
yeah,
been meaning to
Yeah.
watch that actually.
But it was like they weren't really critical hits.
Yeah. But fun fact, Nancy Kies, who played Annie Brackett in that, was in Assault on Precinct 13.
Bam, bam,
So
bam.
like,
Oh.
it was
Reusing
cool-
actors.
It was cool that like, hey, we worked great together. Come see this. Come join this movie.
I love when a director finds a team that they can just keep working with.
Yeah.
I love that.
I mean,
there's a sense of family too.
I do
Lee.
too, for that in particular, especially because when you're making art, if you care about it, you need to be like with people that you trust. I know there's another side of that argument where people are like, well, hey, why don't you give other people a chance? Like, you got to open it up to other folks. But like, I don't know, depending on your level and like how big of a platform you're operating, I feel like there's, I don't know, plenty to be said for just sticking with the crew that you can like achieve your goals with. Like,
I
don't
know
think
this
there's anything
person
wrong
can
with
do.
that.
They're the fit for what I'm looking for. Jamie Lee did Halloween. 2 years later, she does The Fog with Carpenter.
And I think, it's a different level.
Fog. I love the fog.
So like, it's really cool.
Oh, but to answer my own question.
Yes. What was your
My
first
introduction.
experience?
It's actually very funny because this is another one where it's like I definitely feel like I have a leg up on this one, very similar to Texas Chainsaw than you guys, because I do remember, again, younger, scaredy cat for a really long time. I was always terrified of the concept of Halloween. And then I finally
Again,
said something.
the holiday or
No.
Okay. No, because truly,
Love the holiday.
when you're very young, like going up to strangers in
Yeah.
a mask.
Oh, no.
To beg for scraps of candy, like could be a oddly interpreted.
So there I was, a little like orphan boy on the streets of London asking for more.
Shout out to my sister-in-law, whom I love dearly. Who I one of my favorite anecdotes of their childhood is like they almost went like Kevin McAllister on Santa because they were like, no, who is this like stranger that we're letting into our
Breaking
home
and
in the middle of
entering?
night? Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's not okay.
Father, are you not protecting the family? Like, it was very,
That's so funny.
very cute.
But I was very scared of the concept of it, and it was like the idea of Michael Myers, having seen it in pop culture and for the holidays and everything. It's like very terrified of it. And then it was like I was talking to my mom about it one time, and my mom was like, dude, I saw that in theaters when it came out, and that's like one of my favorite movies of all time. And I was like, really?
Say more now, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like she was explaining to me that it was like this is more of like a thriller. This is more of like this is gonna get in your brain, but not so much terrifying visually. And this movie was 100% the linchpin that got me into horror for good.
How lucky are all of us that like one of the big totem movies was so good? You know what I mean? And like maybe the world wouldn't have turned out the way it has.
I don't know.
If it wasn't this good.
I was in love with Pluto Nash for a really long time, so I'm gonna put myself in the coals on that one.
So you're gonna have perfect taste after watching.
Can't get them all the time. But like my mom explained it to me, and I was like, oh, this definitely seems like I feel like I have enough in me to do it now, because I know it's not going to be super gory, it's not going to be super horrifying, terrifying, supernatural monster. It's going to come and get me in my sleep. It's like, no, this is a singular incident, which I know cannot affect me. And it was a very nice stepping stone to that bravery process of getting to like see things.
I feel like there could be like a
rationalizing it.
where you're like, well, my last name is not Strode. So like, he's not coming at me.
I don't live in Haddonfield.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. Like, I'm not a babysitter. Like, this is fine. And also, the kid was okay.
I meant to ask if this was... I wonder if they named Haddonfield specifically because it is a town that perhaps has like a lot of... Or are there a lot of Haddonfields?
There's a lot
in
of
the US?
Haddonfields, yeah.
Well, because like, there is one in a state that we might live in or not. But like, same thing.
Yeah,
with,
they're all over the place. This was intended to be very Midwestern, and they were like, what's the most like common Midwestern town?
That's what they did during The Simpsons. Like, Springfield was specifically named that because I think it is one of the most like frequent names in the U.S. or whatever for towns.
But it definitely, like, that one, and like Claudio can tell you, there's been multiple times where I have just absolutely gushed about this film for hours unprompted.
I was about to say, I'm gonna like set expectations, like, because this is gonna be for me personally more of just a opportunity to reflect on comparing the original and Zombies version once we get into it, because I really love that as like a gateway stepping point for just, our reflection and the interpretation of the franchise. Like, that's the stuff that I always am showing up for, is comparing and contrasting.
Yeah.
But, if you're showing up for, like, Halloween, the movie trivia, and, like, behind
the full
scenes,
breakdown and everything, just
that is
let us know, because me and Joe can do it.
Well, I was even going to say, I can help out, but I know that is, like, something that you can definitely, like, do the heavy lifting on.
Yeah.
And I just,
was
lazy in my research, because I knew I could lean on my brother.
That's not
Glenn
lazy,
for that.
that's tactical.
There was definitively so there was a time that we in a previous life, us and our friends all played D&D together.
I was going to stop.
One Halloween, we thought it would be really fun to do like a Halloween themed D&D thing that was like a little immersive, and like it was like like a holiday. And like we had it set in like the early 90s, like it was very like slasher, and it's like, and of course we built out our characters and everything, and it was supposed to be very real, very like we're playing into tropes of horror movies. And me and Mr. Joseph over here decided that we were going to be the problem kids that worked at the local VHS store.
And crashed the party.
Because why? That's who we are as people.
You didn't want to, have to do too much character work.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah. It was
the lazy man's method.
And at one point, like in the game, it was mentioned that we were going to be watching a film print of Halloween, and of course the VHS kids would just go absolutely apeshit, telling every single fact that they had in their brain. And this kind of went on for about an hour that no one stopped me, and I just kind of kept talking.
We realized slowly why we engineered this game, these roles and characters, but no, it was just a ton of fun.
I still want to make those. I want to make our video store tags.
Oh yeah,
The fictional video store that we worked at was called Romero's Video.
Yes, that's right.
And I was like, I kind of still want to make those name tags because they're cool as fuck.
I mean, not for nothing. They're unfortunately, not unfortunately. Only we can make our own if we wanted. But I bet you there's Romero's video store fake merch out there just for
And it was also like a shameless what do you call it? Like a shameless rip from Shaun of the Dead, because Shaun of the Dead worked at Romero's Appliances.
Okay.
And there was also a pizza guy that was riding around in one of the zombies in the movie, and he worked for Romero's Pizza.
Excellent.
We love layers on layers of reference.
So many layers. All right.
But yes.
Halloween. I've gushed enough. There we go.
Well, the last thing I wanted to ask before we kind of got into just like content of the movies and do our like kind of compare and contrast was we were talking about behind the scenes a little bit and like coming together with it and the production stuff. coming up, always understood, like, oh, this is John Carpenter's movie, and, like, the soundtrack, and, like, all that stuff, and, like, oh, he got all the credit, and that's awesome. But you mentioned, Claudio, Deborah Hill as the producer. Was she not, like, co-writer as well? Like, isn't that, like, part of the lore as well, that she was doing, I think, a lot of the female dialogue, whereas Carpenter was more about, like, plot and, like, staging, and obviously, like...
I actually don't know the breakdown off the top of my head.
Body of the story versus dialogue type deal.
But you are correct on writing. It was John and Deborah who
Deborah
were...
had
That's kind of what I
were
wanted
writing.
to confirm, that's all, even without knowing the details. Like, I just love the fact that, like, there is always, like, these women behind, the great men or whatever, and they just don't get shouted out. So I'm glad that, like, I, even in my passive research, like, dumb zone was like, I think Deborah Hill did a lot of stuff.
Shout out Deborah Hill.
But she did, yeah, exactly.
Produced
So,
and wrote for it.
That's really cool.
yeah, I thought I heard recently not a rumor. I thought I heard trivia that, like, she kind of...
Thought I heard too one time.
yes.
Someone sent a raven.
Specifically, she was very much involved in, like, kind of authenticating a lot of the teen, girl dialogue and things of that nature. But,
which is very good to have a...
well, as our introductions demonstrated, like, some of the best parts of Halloween, like, aren't about, like, the slashing or the stalking.
The entity.
It is the entity, but it is also, like, the entity, the shape, but the mood, the tone,
The
and I feel like
boogeyman,
none of that works.
It's all vibe.
without
and
the frivolous, but, like, earnestly played, like, teen drama nonsense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's that
Because,
juxtaposition.
like, the teen drama was, like, a shameless subplot that just worked so well. And it was
speaking
like,
of, like-
this feels so real, though.
And speaking of, like, imitators, good and bad, and, we will get to the remake, right? But, like, in the comparison when we get there, like, I don't know, this is pretty solid, like, teen interaction. Like, even if it comes off, I don't know, a little cheesy, or maybe the acting isn't, like, Oscar worthy, like, whatever.
No.
But I think it really holds
was-
up relative now to
Yeah.
all the
Divas were
terrible. What?
So the divas were up.
Those divas were so.
Those
up. Are you
divas
kidding?
were so up, actually.
Yeah, no,
They would.
But I agree.
in all their, like, hair that needed conditioner glory, because it was it was 79 or whatever.
It was
No
just,
offense to those-
it was
those
so
women,
cool
I'm just-
too that it was like a lot of them were like they were still relatively new actors, and it was
Yes.
like they were kind of given a place where it's like, here's your dialogue, but feel free to play with it a little bit. Like, you are of an age in this era, and that's what we're trying to connect to, and it's like, play with it, talk about stuff, and they really lived into these characters, and it's like a lot of them, like, walking around the corner from their house and lighting up a cigarette and then like beating up each other or like talking shit on one another playfully. It's like, that's all very
Natural.
real. Yes.
It felt that way, and the fact that also, like, not for nothing, and, like, stop me if I'm, like, accidentally being sexist, like I will often do sometimes, like, but, like, the fact that it's like, but no, the fact that it was like teen girls, like, talking shit and cursing and talking about sex, like, and, like, lighting cigarettes, like, again.
This is crass. This is not something that's not in the main public eye.
Girls aren't crass.
Yeah,
like,
it's
you know what I
not
mean?
This
abiding
is real.
to
So it was
society.
cool.
Yes.
I don't know. That
Yeah.
like stuck with me. I thought that was very helpful. But like in addition to that authenticity, it's also like I'm watching Halloween half the time just for the crunchy leaves. You know what I mean? Like I'm just watching it for the breeze. Legitimately, like it is on my list for classic slashers, but it's also just on my list of like fall time, autumn vibes, like pumpkin spice latte time. Like is also where Halloween belongs.
Absolutely.
Like a movie you'd watch at a Halloween party, maybe.
Perhaps.
We've 100% done it. We've
Yeah,
100%
sure
done
did.
that. Yeah.
What I was getting super excited for, though, was when you were discussing like the sort of long takes and the very naturalistic dialogue and like sort of authenticated performances of these young people. That's just so much a thing that I miss from like 70s and 80s and now like truly even like 90s movies and TV. But I feel like you see it the most in 70s where there's just a lot of long takes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They weren't.
Because they wanted to do as little editing as possible because they were doing it on a
There
very
was a
tight
practical
budget.
There's a practical reason, sure, but like they weren't jumping to the next cut quite so often, quite so frequently,
Yeah.
quite so quickly, and it allowed for actors to really have to like
Live
perform.
in the material.
Yeah.
And it feels more theatrical, and it feels more like when you're watching either like a live recording of a stage play, or like how sitcoms used to be, actually performed in front of a live studio audience.
Yeah, and it's definitely different than how stuff is today, where it is so editing
It is
heavy.
3 lines, cut,
Yeah.
next.
You have
Action
to
shot,
yeah.
over the shoulder to the other person, like no.
Yeah.
You have to say the funny thing really fast and then cut.
Timing, keep it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bah, bah, bah.
And I'm not only going to use this for editing a video later.
Oh, fuck.
You gotta say the funny thing and then edit the hell out of it. There we go. That's the sound clip for
land development.
And when I was young,
I agree.
When I was young, I like 10, 11, 12, I read that as like, boring. This is so slow. Like, I hate this. Like, why are they not doing the thing that I'm used to? Where's the music? Where's the whatever? The blah, blah, blah. But now as I'm older and I'm like, oh, thank God I can just like take
when you
time.
let the space breathe a little bit.
And that's what it is.
That was one of the reasons why I absolutely
That is
defines space.
Violent nature. Is there a space?
That is
time
acting
for
101 core notes. Is just let the line breathe and let the scene.
You don't have to talk to act.
Yeah, let the scene do what it read, interpret, and just let it go. Don't force it. It's just going to naturally go. And Halloween does a wonderful job of just letting things naturally be crass, naturally be different from what generally the spoke of movies.
Be real. Live in this character.
And occasionally to be bored, but guess what? That is also
That's
what's
real life.
And the same boredom opportunities are the same ones that are like making like the juice, the magic, when like it's boring, but also you can see a creep in the background that no one else sees, and like you have that, that situational irony or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, boom, that's the magic. So I don't know, we just don't get enough of that. But I was noticing it extra hard while rewatching a different fundamental 70s slasher that we may or may not be discussing in the very near future. But that also, like, similar to Halloween, just like let the actors
You gotta just live in
breathe.
it for a little bit. Yeah. No, you were 100% correct. And I feel like there's not much that we can say that's just going to like, oh yes, sell this movie even further. Like, if you don't know Halloween at this point, you don't know, you're missing out. Like,
Absolutely.
you've officially dropped the ball, and I'm calling you out on that.
So I do want to
But
spend.
it's never too late.
Yeah.
I do want to spend like a bit more time with the original, like especially if we have more
Absolutely.
specific
Yeah, we
things
can
to
touch
say.
on just a little more before we jump.
But I'm almost like more excited to discuss Rob Zombie's 07 remake because of like its place within the context of the franchise, but also how it like did things differently than other sequels or other attempts at reboots or like sequels or whatever, And I think like that's such a great way to kind of reassess. Okay, the Thorn trilogy and the late '90s stuff versus the David Gordon Green stuff. Like Zombies duology kind of stands alone in a fairly unique position, but we'll get to that later.
Absolutely.
That being said, I
How fucking great is this fucking movie?
I will definitely spend more time in the breeze, in the leaves, in the sheets, in the
With like John Carpenter smoking just off camera enough that it's trailing into the shot. Like, come on!
in the teens that actually look kind of like teens. Like the dudes definitely read more like 20s to me, but like the girls look like they're teenagers.
Like
for the most part.
one of my absolute favorite scenes of this movie is when they're all at their respective houses for doing like their babysitting job or just at home or hanging out with their boyfriend or whatever, and when they're all on the phone together and they're all just like fucking bored and talking to one another and like looking out the window, it's like, I can see you right here.
Yeah.
It's like that was so fucking real that it was
The
like
geography of that is
they're
truly
just like,
a good
oh
innovation.
yeah, like that was such a real moment because it was like, dude, you're bored as fuck. What are you doing? I'm talking to my friends.
Well, and also like not only do they
We were just hanging out. Doesn't matter. I'm talking to them.
not only do they establish a good layout for like the geography of just like the few, like the small block radius or whatever that they're kind of taking place the action in the second half, or really the third act or whatever. But like that's part of the boring stuff, in the first act where they're establishing, and we're following them walking home from school and through the neighborhood. It's because anytime you have a worthwhile haunted house movie or slasher movie that has like a very limited location, right? A single
Setting
house.
is a character.
But also like you need to know the space, because like if you're not like invested in like, oh shit, she already went in that room, or like, oh no, you can't do the basement, or like, oh that only has one room with a window in the upstairs.
It feels like you're on the inside joke of, or not joke, but like you're in the know.
If you don't have that context, you're just like, okay, another room, okay, another room, okay, another room, okay, another room, and like that, so when you establish the geography of the space, I feel like it ends up being something that just reaps good rewards.
It forces the viewer to understand that it's like, oh no, she can't just like run out the front door and run down the street.
Exactly.
It's like, well, because like so often you'll watch something and be like, this is unrealistic. Why the hell wouldn't they just do this? And it's like, well, this explains why.
Yeah.
Like,
And I feel like they took the time to make that effort to be like, there is no running. You can't, because at this point there's a child upstairs sleeping. What are you going to do? You have to defend the house, maybe.
Yeah.
Kevin McAllister.
It's funny too seeing like the cast of characters, like the majority of them are just like trying to get laid as hard as they possibly can, right? Or
this was also like super tasteful, like in that kind of aspect of it, in comparison to something like Friday the 13th, where it was like this was a little bit more tasteful, where it's like, no, we are just we're gonna talk about sex, we're gonna try and talk about getting laid, but it's like, I think Friday the 13th was just like, oh, buddy.
So here's the thing. I think it's aged so well in Halloween because, again, it was authentic, right? And it felt like... anytime you do things realistically, I think it's going to age well, right? Because anytime you try too hard, it's like, oh, well, that just, like, dated itself. It feels anachronistic or whatever. But, like, it's so ironic to me because at the time, right, it was like, oh, scandalous and so blue and, like, oh, pulpy or whatever. But then, like... we'll just wait for Friday the 13th. You know what I mean? Like, just wait for the Camp Crystal Lake. Because if you want to see some gratuitous teen nudity or whatever, like, that's where you're going to find it. Yeah. This is almost like, prestigious and European by comparison.
Yeah.
But, like, there is still a little bit teen, but it is absolutely way more tasteful and intentional and framed in ways that, like, it is not as gratuitous or sloppy as you might expect.
It doesn't feel, like, icky to watch.
No.
It's just like, oh, okay, well...
Even in 4 and 5, when it kind of does a little, it's like, it's really not even, like, that egregious, and the original, I think,
there's
by
definitely
comparison,
a
is even
definitive turning point when it's like, all right, they just
we're in the bedroom scene.
Yeah, we're going into that.
And by the way, I am glad we're mentioning this specifically because Zombies remake definitely noticed that and definitely made choices that way that I think, like, despite myself, work really well.
Yeah.
But again, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Before we jump to that, I just want to give a special shout out to a few people. But if we're going to talk about the actors, we can't not talk about the Shape himself, Nick Castle.
Nick Castle, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, because I don't...
He played the OG 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. He came back for the 2018 series, so the trio.
Okay.
As the Shape.
That's awesome.
Masked. And then, fun fact, he's a motion capture for the 2026 game.
Oh, shit, that's so cool.
So really cool that, he was there, then he came back for, like, the, I guess, returning sequel, if you will, post 2, and that he still has work in the Halloween universe. Because as important as all actors are, even the silent actors, even just having a presence, the
physicality still.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, like... Much love. And I'm just going to shoot real quick because we talked about...
No, I'm glad you mentioned that because I know, like, we all kind of understand, like, yes, Robert Englund, is Freddy Krueger, except for the one or a couple times he wasn't. But he has that sort of authorship and claim on the character. I wasn't aware specifically about Michael Myers because there has been so many, different versions,
and we'll get to that in Rob Zombie, too.
Mm-hmm. And I do love... Was Otter Kane? Was that?
Kane Hodder.
Kane Hodder.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that sounds like a wrestler.
I was gonna say, you can switch those names, and it sounds badass either way.
So I also like if you're mentioning from Halloween 2, Michael was actually portrayed by 2 people in that one. It was Nick Castle and the greatest name of all fucking time, Dick Warlock. How fucking awesome is that name? His name is Dick Warlock.
No, but with the family name Warlock, you really have, like, pick of the litter. Like, you get to really mix and match there. But Richard Warlock was a choice.
Yeah, and the fact that he went professionally by Dick. No, Nick Castle's a phenomenal choice for that as a shout out for sure. I did not realize that he was so integral to, like,
it's really cool.
More recent stuff. With the whole thing.
He was there at the beginning. He was there at the end for now TM. But speaking really quick on, like, John Carpenter and his, like, entourage of people he likes, Jamie Lee Curtis, obviously, with The Fog. Nancy Kies, who I already talked about. She was also in The Fog. And then I'm just going to put this one in the pocket for later. PJ Souls, who played Linda Vanderklok, who was in Devil's Rejects, and the 2018 remake, she had a cameo.
Which, surprisingly enough, PJ Souls is one of those actors that... Rob Zombie immediately fell in love with her and was like, I love working with you, has put her in a handful of different movies, different roles, different aspects, all this really cool stuff. What blows my fucking mind is the fact that she is not in his Halloween remakes.
That's funny.
Blows my mind.
Jumped right over to the cameos. But yeah, so really cool that, he had a group of folks that, weaved in and out of his filmography. And also just a little fun fact, budget was about $300K, box office $70 million. So like it, and that's another thing I'm going to put in my pocket because I'm going to reference it later. But like it's really cool that like something that, you know, is the foundation got the flowers and is continuing to get the flowers that it deserves.
Absolutely. I also want to touch on, like you had touched on the geography being a very integral part, and then like the editing also being an integral part. If we're just talking about parts of the movie as well, the soundtrack alone, like...
Yeah, we mentioned briefly, but
Yeah.
it's been
like,
spoken about, of course.
Yeah,
but
like
can't
people have
understate
said it far more eloquently than I ever
Can't
can.
understate it.
This fucking soundtrack was so good. That's it, full stop. No, but like the fact that he took the time to craft this soundtrack, and like John Carpenter sat down and was like, "I am going to come up with how I want this to sound," and it sounded so unlike so many other things, and he had his own flavor, his own taste in it, and it's like this is so fucking neat that you created a character out of this theme.
And again, like in retrospect, knowing now that like he tours to do that type of to perform that type of music, and like that's kind of like everyone's like, "Oh, why don't you like make more movies, sir?" And he's always like, "Well, I'm smoking weed and playing video games with my son while like touring my music. Like I don't really need. I'm good."
Yeah,
and, like,
I'm
I
having
love that.
fun. I'm having a great time. Thank you.
Found his bliss, and like that makes me so happy. But it just like I think retrospectively or whatever, like knowing that it brings him such joy and that he's like kind of, I don't know, that it meant a lot to him that he did like craft it out of, you know, not just a need, but probably like something that was genuinely inside of him. Like that's awesome. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
it's like being a creative myself, it's so cool when you finally have that want and that will and the drive to create.
muse.
And then once that muse is upon you and like you just want to fulfill it from every other aspect. You want it to encompass everything, because like you said, like when it's not on you, it's like it is the end of the world. It's awful. I am worth nothing. Like you have all of these horrible thoughts, but when it finally sets in, you just want to live inside of every aspect of it, and you want to blow it up to its enormous proportion, which I think he fucking did.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
how often does like the epic scope of your own grandeur actually like come to fruition, and
then
like,
he
that
had to do it
actually
again.
is objectively
And
yeah.
again. And again, and again. Like, it blows my mind, people that are this fucking creative and are successfully creative over and over and over. It's so fucking cool.
And again, like on top of the soundtrack, and this is not like any kind of hidden trivia, but I don't think we mentioned it, and I just feel like we ought to. But like just with, the fog and like using common actors and like knowing who you like to work with, I don't think it hurt that Jamie Lee Curtis, of course, is daughter of Psycho star.
Tony Curtis.
Tony Curtis, right? But also Janet Leigh.
Janet Leigh, yeah. Nepo baby.
Which again,
Can we have a stinger? Nepo baby.
I'm not against Nepo babies. Like,
There's times when they're cool. There's times when they're not so cool.
Guess what? Like that's how folks get into businesses, and like, yeah, who would have thunk that like a talented person would have a talented child? Like it does happen.
Yeah, it's like this PSA. You know, if you're a Nepo baby, make it worth other people's while as well. Be a nice person.
Bidra.
And then you also have Dakota Johnson. Like, there's a lot of different types of folks out there. Just kidding, Dakota.
Why, has Dakota put out a movie recently?
Well, yeah, but
Through your web, she sees all.
well, I mean a couple, but I'm not here to shit talk her. I just
I just don't recognize the name, actually.
I'm crying in the club.
No, it's safe to say that this is definitely a stunning movie of all features, all sides. Like, any way you cut this film, look at it. This is essentially, it's also one of those dad movies, too, that you can throw on and just, like, walk out of the room, come back in, and be like, ooh, what's going on? I like it.
very much rewatchable.
This is a vibes movie as well.
No matter where you walk, or no matter where I walk in on this movie, like, I kind of just, like, instantly want to sit down and finish it. Like, I don't care about rewinding,
Yeah.
Checks a lot of different boxes for what a lot of moviegoers' needs may call for.
Absolutely. And like I said, there's so many people that have talked about this movie in such depth and done like the full breakdown and everything, much more eloquently than I ever could.
Well, I don't feel bad not having all the trivia and all behind the scenes. Like this is one of the totems that like you can Wikipedia and like educate yourself, and like that's I think less valuable then in terms of like what we can provide specifically, then like our reactions and
like
whatever.
speaking of the crassness of this film, it's I feel like my tone and volume of my voice is definitely they're just perpetuating that it's like I'm just sitting here going, it's a fucking cool movie, dude, go fucking watch it.
It's funny because again,
that was
like,
the most Delco that's ever come out of my mouth. Ew. Hoagie mouth. Anyway,
I was gonna say you say crassness, but like again, it was maybe crass at the time, but it has since become like so prestigious. Like
I'm crass but honest.
Cronus, if you will.
Chronist.
And without like deviating too much from the original or the zombie that we're about to get into, I feel like, but like just speaking on like the franchise and its influences, it is so funny because like this is officially our second slashic, right after Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We were trying to kind of go generally chronologically with like the early heavy hitters. But we also wanted to like touch on like the big mascots of horror, right? And that's very sort of generally, I feel like, Leatherface, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, and who am I forgetting? Freddy Krueger, right? It's like those are the core four, and then like maybe you got a couple others. But before this sort of dawn of like the horror mascot with like a specific weapon or this, that, the other, thinking back, I think there was really only like Psycho. You know what I mean? And then like coming up through this era was, if not like a more colorful character mascot with like lore and it was vaguely supernatural or whatever, you had more like house invasion stuff, like When
a Stranger
Calls or Last House on the Left, those types of things, which I think we might potentially eventually get to.
Oh, interesting. So When a Stranger Calls was 1979.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
So this actually technically predates that.
Was it 78?
Yeah, this was 78.
Cool. That's fine.
Because I was like, When a Stranger Calls, when did that come out? And I was like, yeah, that's. So,
I was gonna say, but in
leading
terms
up to this, like, as far as big flashy horror
I was kind of interested in like a before after.
It's pretty much like it's Psycho. And then, like, another heavy hitter would have been 1974 with Texas Chainsaw, and then also 1974 with Black Christmas, and then...
which we will be getting to.
There's another one that's
soon.
76, and I cannot remember what it is to save my life. Oh.
So I was going to say, I do have a list that I could pull up quick that is, I have a list of older, classic serial killer movies. Not necessarily slashers, because it's not about, it's massacring teens, which is very much
and that
the
was still a
template.
very new concept at the time, too.
But there were serial killer movies. There were, Peeping Tom movies. Like that.
Peeping Tom.
Which is literally the title of a movie. There's another one just called M.
Are you thinking Omen?
But this is going back to... so we were going to... I think do Omen at some point, but that's like a later thing. Like the first one is 70s, I believe. But
yeah, because
that's less slash.
Omen is
more,
76.
It is 76. Okay, so it was Omen.
Is that what you're thinking of?
Yeah.
And that one's kind of odd because it's almost like a political thriller more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As opposed to slasher, but like obviously the supernatural.
The Exorcist 73. That's what I was like. There was another one in the 70s, and it's like it's somewhere paranormal.
Which is another huge horror. But
it's a big horror, but it's not a slasher.
Correct.
So it's like. Horror is always been kind of a thing. Like you look back at like stuff like Lon Chaney, like Vincent Price, Bela Lugosi, stuff like that.
Those are the monsters.
But like we're starting to get into like in the 70s, things started like churning a little bit and stuff started like we're getting subgenre-y now.
We were also more interested, I think, in a humanist perspective. Like we were, turning against the Vietnam War. We were, already past not necessarily being gung ho for Korea. Like counterculture was like finally kind of coming, through on its own, or not through on its own, but like. Being reflected in media in the 70s as like it was seen in real life in the 60s. You know what I mean? And like we were going from like weird one-offs in like the 30s, 40s, 50s. Like you had to kind of chase down your weird stuff, hidden in a crime thriller or something like that, or like a foreign film. But then in like the 60s and 70s in particular, I feel like you're seeing more of that counterculture, like the freak flags were flying. And I think Halloween and Texas Chainsaw and Black Christmas
became so much like easier and accessible for people to start making their own indie pictures, which was like
that is
indie pictures.
But I think culturally we were also just tired of or not even tired, but we were no longer afraid to break the rules and get weird and be like, you know what I mean? Like the young folks of that era, were coming up, and I think that helped. But
and you can look
Exorcist definitely helps with that.
Yeah, you can look at like stuff like punk music the same exact way.
Time. It was all happening at the same
People
era.
kind of got tired of a certain thing, and they were like, "Screw this! We're gonna make our own." It may not be technically the best, but it encompasses what we're trying to get across, and it's honest.
It's honest. It's earnest. It's loud. It's, you know what I mean? Like, it's youthful. Like, all these things. Again, I just like that we look at the historical context of these things, because they all do, bleed into each other and influence one another, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But so before Halloween, that was kind of the landscape, and then after, like, you had immediate imitators, right? That is exactly what Friday the 13th, or am I thinking the right thing? I was getting titles. Yeah. Jason Voorhees.
Jason.
Yeah. Like, oh, you thought Halloween was Salacious?
We gotta have the guy.
I'll show you Salacious.
Everybody's like, we gotta have the guy, especially after Halloween too, because going chronologically now, like moving forward here, like they do Halloween spotty at first, then it really catches on because people were nervous. They didn't really know what they were getting into.
Sequels
sequels going into. And so we can work into.
I was gonna say we can just quickly with Halloween. I love it because it was like, ooh, original, boom. Everyone for the second one. You have to.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay.
They very quickly, the studio was like, man, this is a hit. We love this. And John Carpenter was like, all right, cool. I got an idea for it.
I'll do 2.
Let's run it.
After 2, let's do a 3. And he was like, fuck you. The only way I'll do that is if we do something completely different and nobody liked it. Or nobody wanted it.
I absolutely adore the concept that he pushed for this, because
good on him for
so
trying.
many people hate 3. Blows my mind. 3 is a favorite for me.
I think it's easier for folks, after it came out.
If you pitch it not as a Michael Myers movie, then you're fine. But it was like the concept being that he wanted to do almost make an anthology out of Halloween. Like, these are the tales of Halloween. This is the Halloween stories.
They would have kept doing Halloweens, but it would have been different every time. And nowadays that's so common, especially in TV. He was so ahead of his time.
And he grabbed up a couple of people for that it was like they were pretty big names at the time. I never remember this actor's name.
I was gonna say, that being said, and expectations for Michael Myers aside, I love Season of the Witch. Halloween 3, but it is ironically, and that is a bonkers movie.
Yeah, it's so
weird.
It's
not necessarily good TM.
Just when you think is going on, just when you think you have it figured out, boom, there's androids. But
we're also the hero is an alcoholic deadbeat father who is just womanizing various.
You
nurses.
leave Tom Atkins alone. Oh wait, his character. Yeah.
I'm just saying, this is one of the horniest, slashers, scary horror movies in the world. Is Season of the Witch.
So, so at that point, he hadn't done Maniac Cop or Night of the Creeps, which is what I thought he did before. But he snatched up Tom Atkins, which at the time that's a really good looking guy. We have a good solid base to jump off of, and nobody liked it.
Or everybody wanted Michael Myers.
Yeah. Critical success was not there.
They weren't ready for it.
Fun fact, though, Michael was in the fucking movie for about maybe 5 seconds.
Oh, I love these.
Yeah, he was actually in a when Tom Atkins walks into a bar, I believe it was in Season of the Witch, there is a commercial playing for playing on Saturday night on Channel 5, and it pops up on the TV, and it's The Curse of Michael Myers or something like that.
Did they stab 3 Halloween?
Yes, they did.
That's amazing.
That's
awesome.
It's so fucking cool. So obviously that didn't do well. So then, all right, we're gonna take time off of this now.
I was just gonna say, I was trying to quickly, because I didn't want to take time away from what we were doing. But so after doing something radically different, everyone's like, oh shit. And what was it? Producer Mustafa Akkad, I believe is.
I believe so. Yeah.
Comes in and gives us what we now know as the Thorn trilogy, which again we kind of already spoke a bit on, but very much okay, we know you missed Michael Myers. Here he is again. And it still was just not really as yes, it was Michael Myers, but it was not Deborah Hill. It was not John Carpenter. It was not anyone with the authenticity, the desire, the patience, anything that made the original what it was. But you get 4, 5, 6, and hey, Baby Paul Rudd, and that's all fun. But that brings us to mid-90s. Now the industry's changed a bit. Culture's changed a bit, media's changed a bit.
Blows my mind that they only waited 3 years before jumping into H2O.
And I feel bad because I was gonna say you asked what was our first exposure to Halloween. I think I might have loved H2O before I ever saw Halloween.
You know what?
Because it came out. It came out in what, 98? I was 12.
Yep, it was 98.
Almost 13 maybe. But are you kidding me? A tween seeing Josh Hartnett in the late 90s was forever affected. I don't care who you were. You either wanted to caress that weird haircut,
or you wanted to be the
have
haircut.
And like
he actually, this is again stupid fun fact here. He was told to do like a schoolboy haircut and everything like that, and he refused so badly so that he was like, nah, fuck you, and cut his own hair.
And then he doubled down on it for Faculty, or was Faculty first?
I believe Faculty was after.
Either way, I was gonna because either way, that was like a 1-2 punch where I was just like, oh shit, this is like this is my first Scream King.
Yeah,
doing all these weird movies.
Then we had like fucking
same
like
year.
LL Cool J, buddy, come on, LL Cool J.
LL Cool J is not cool. But I
it's
will
just like
say
him showing up and you're like, what the fuck is going on in this movie? I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt's also in this.
Yes,
he is.
In a hockey mask. Yeah. But so I was gonna say, like, not to spend too much time on things that aren't the original or Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
But I loved H2O. It was like one of my first one of my movies, I don't know, a movie that wasn't my parents' or other people's, and also it was the sequel that finally looked decent. You know what I mean? Like, it had a late 90s production budget. Jamie Lee Curtis came back finally. It was the first, legacy
The mask kind of came back around to a point that the mask looked good again, and it's like there were some good gags, there was some good, frights in it, there were some very effective moments throughout the movie. Just as a whole, I feel like as a purist, I don't love it, but it's better than what we had previously. Less
goofy than what would immediately come after Resurrection, which is downright disrespectful.
All right, so here's where they failed. Busta Rhymes.
Who let him bully Michael like that? So, I want to know.
This is the only time that I will give flowers to Friday the 13th over Halloween. Actually, no, it's a second. I'll give them 2. Friday the 13th had better one-off weird sequels than Halloween did.
Yeah.
But I will say, Friday the 13th did it first when someone decides to fucking square up with the bad guy.
Oh, okay. As opposed to Busta Rhymes, doing martial arts.
Trying to do Taekwondo against...
But yeah, no, that was... And again, these franchises...
Trick or treat, motherfucker!
It's awesome that these franchises, these filmmakers, even if it's just at the producer level, are still in conversation with one another, in dialogue, making references, that whole bit. It's very cool.
Great. So then that was 2002.
Well, and I was gonna say, and then what came after was Rob Zombie's
2007,
and it makes sense. And I'm glad that we were letting ourselves at least set the stage, not spending too much time with those individual movies. But I feel like you had to mention where the franchise went to understand why Rob Zombie was a really good choice and why he did what he did, which was not a sequel. You know what I'm saying? Because 2 is a sequel. 3 is a one-off, doesn't even exist necessarily within that narrative. 4, 5, and 6 are very much sequels. Okay, they were not redoing Laurie Strode's story.
This was a true remake.
H2O and Resurrection are each again sequels. Oh, the first one that they brought back Jamie Lee Curtis, blah blah blah. But again, they were sequels. They were not redoing the first one. Rob Zombie's Halloween 07 was the first time that they were all right. We've run the gamut. We tried a direct sequel. We tried a weird sequel. We tried going back to the original flavor. We tried getting weird with it with, Busta Rhymes. None of that's worked. We finally are ready to reboot, redo. And I kind of vaguely don't remember how it was received at the time. I feel like horror heads were not against it.
I remember seeing trailers for this, and I was very concerned with it because I knew about all of the other movies. I had watched the other movies, and I was I don't know how I feel about this. And also, you're looking at Rob Zombie, and Rob Zombie at this point only had 2 other full-length movies out, which was House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. Both heinous, weird grindhouse flicks that were so far out of what I could fucking comprehend.
I was gonna say
and a trailer for Werewolf Women of the SS that he put in Grindhouse. Yeah, had to be mentioned because those trailers are phenomenal.
On paper, I should have absolutely ate up Rob Zombie as a filmmaker. Okay, I was like, born in the mid '80s, kind of coming up in the '90s, grew, come of age in the 2000s, right? But like, I listened to White Zombie, I listened to Rob Zombie, I was, into weird horror movies, I was into comic books, I was not necessarily like a sports kid, I was into skateboarding and bikes and whatnot.
He was kind of the champion for that particular niche.
When he started making, we're the House of Thousand Corpses and getting into movies, I should have been just like, ooh, I am your like baby bird demographic. Perfect, right? I couldn't stand House of a Thousand Corpses when it first came out. That and what was the second one?
Devil's Rejects.
Devil's Rejects. I really
2003 and 2005.
did not jive with his aesthetic at all. And I understood, and it really, got to me, and, I had to, do personal reflection to be like, why is this not, sitting with me? Why do I, kind of have a reaction against this? Mm-hmm. And it was a me problem. I needed to, just kind of, do introspection
There
things.
was also some growth that needed to be done, because there was a lot of, it was the early 2000s, it was a lot of shock value that was trying to be obtained there, and I feel like hitting on some of those more taboo things in it, stuff that you necessarily wouldn't see on screen but would feel unsafe about, kind of made you feel a little icky.
I was gonna say, it made me feel icky. It made me have those visceral reactions that I would also get around certain kids' families that I didn't think things were super stable. And again, this is not me trying to be judgy or talking shit, but it was just it was just I got weird feelings, and I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that. But it's so funny because ironically, that was me as a kid. Now me as an adult, I'm like, ooh. The fact that he was able to make me feel that, the fact that
visceral emotion from a movie is incredible,
and also that it was so consistent. He is he's an auteur. He's one of the first auteurs of American 20th century stuff that had a populist appeal. You know what I mean? He wasn't Christopher Nolan. He wasn't, but he was still being so consistent and so unmistakably him. You know what I mean? So I didn't like it, but you knew when you were watching a Rob Zombie movie. And despite not liking all that, perfect for Halloween.
Yeah, that last part, when you're seeing a Rob Zombie movie. My notes here. Well, first one, my notes.
And not just because Sherry Moon's in it.
My first was trauma equals better ? Because again, this is the era of that mid 2000s where the shock value, it's almost it's not a cadence, but it's it's a motif, and there has to be something that makes you clutch your pearls per se, but with Rob Zombie we'll get to the others in due time, but I'm not the biggest fan of the 2000s remakes, but Rob Zombie did the best of them in my opinion.
Yeah, as far as our grading scale for the SLASHICS kind of go of the early 2000s, I fucking love this movie.
Oh yeah.
It's sick. Now, does it hold a candle to the that's a really hard question for me to answer.
We mentioned,
we'll get to that maybe.
I was gonna say I wasn't even gonna dive in because we mentioned how it was received, and I thought it was generally received well by horror folk in a general sense. However, it was divisive because a lot of people did not appreciate how it went into the backstory of Michael Myers, and we saw his family and his childhood.
We humanized him.
So for anyone that doesn't know, we're gonna this is spoiler territory now. Yeah. So the
movie came out almost
18 years ago.
The 2007 Halloween remake by Rob Zombie is very much bisected right into two halves. The first half is Michael Myers, Criminal Minds edition. And you get his whole backstory, you get his family, you see how he treated little baby Lori and blah 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 blah. And I think a lot of folks didn't appreciate seeing such a human face being put on the entity, the shape, the you know what I mean, the boogeyman. And then the second half of the movie is very much just a tighter remake of the original.
And it is far gorier.
We're gonna get but very much put his own spin on it. It's far gorier. You're getting way more gruesome brutality, not only in the stature of Kane Hodder, not only in the blood, not only in the nudity, but just nonetheless you're doing still the same characters, generally the same dialogue, very similar shots.
Tyler Mane, technically.
Excuse me, Tyler Mane.
Tyler Mane.
Or Daryl Carolat is.
Kane Hodder was a different franchise or a different movie?
He was Jason.
Jason. Okay, apologies. Thank you for checking.
Same build, but
I was gonna say, he's big ass dude.
Big dude.
Big broad-shouldered
Tyler
motherfucker.
Mane, I believe,
Long hair.
has like a full foot over Kane Hodder.
I am
which
so
is
apologies to Tyler.
crazy.
Apologies to Tyler Mane.
Yeah.
6'9", Jesus.
Truly feel bad.
Yeah, it's a big motherfucker.
Especially because I love his performance. I thought he made awesome choices. I
Dude.
loved seeing his face, his hair, like under the mask. I was into it. Because
The paper mache mask when he's talking, when like Loomis is talking to him in the institution, like that image is burned in my brain
The
of
kinda
him just
pinkish.
like looking down at him through his hair, and it's like he's like,
well, here's part of why I really enjoyed it or liked it at the end of the day.
Malcolm McDowell looks so short in that.
First of
scene.
all, Malcolm McDowell is perfect casting
Yes.
to replace Donald Pleasence. Holy
Yes.
cow. Because like you're not doing the same, but you're getting another like weirdo character actor guy. But I loved Malcolm. I thought that was such a great choice. But no, that pink paper mache mask, like, and everything about the childhood of Michael Myers, I thought made sense. It made perfect sense. Like that is exactly what I would imagine for Michael Myers' childhood.
Oh, yeah.
And everything I hated about like the visceral, grimy nature of Rob Zombie's first two movies fits perfectly for a fucked up, dysfunctional, abusive, toxic family like the Myerses is.
Which I do want to touch on this too, because it was like this is where they started playing with the taboo a little bit too of like we're gonna talk about like really like bad family dynamic, and we're gonna talk about how this abuse can change that, because like I don't know when Criminal Minds started, but it's like CSI had already
Pretty sure
like
2005.
like we are already deep into like people being into true crime at this point.
Yes.
And it's like a lot of like it's common knowledge now about like nature versus nurture, how a serial killer's made type thing.
Even outside of media, we became much more aware of like social emotional learning, like psychology terms were more in the zeitgeist.
And this was
Frasier had been on for years.
This was not
Like,
the type of shit that you would see on regular movies
Yes.
of just like, oh, dysfunctional family, horrible abuse in the home, like.
But guess what? You do see it reflected a lot in horror movies, and like not for nothing, that is a big part of why I think horror fandom, has been such a haven for folks that like don't necessarily have the best home lives or need a private corner to go to feel safe. Like that's part of why I love the horror community, because like it's it's dark and weird and ooh gross and it's not mainstream, but like that's where you're gonna find the most supportive folks because they've like been through shit. You know what I mean? And like I think it just was such a good fit, for Halloween and for Rob Zombie, and like that Venn diagram overlap of the 2007 remake, I think like was just like perfect timing.
And the fact that he was able to make a movie that wasn't named after one of his songs is incredible. Sorry, I had to add some. I had to add some levity. I had to add some levity to it. I'm sorry. No, it was so. I personally, upon first watching of this, I did not click with the idea of humanizing him so much. And it was the same way that you were saying that it's like, in my youth of watching this, it was like, the Rob Zombie stuff really wasn't hitting until I hit a certain age. And I was like, oh, fuck, you're nailing it right now. This is actually really cool. Part of that comes from the fact of when I was younger, this movie came out. And I, at the time, was also a pudgy blonde child with very, very long hair that got made fun of for looking like a girl.
Hey, also, long blonde hair. Got called Kurt Cobain and Hanson all the time.
Didn't get either of those. No, I got Michael Myers, and people were putting all of his baggage on me, which didn't feel great.
Jesus.
I understand that.
What I'm saying is be careful. No, I'm just kidding.
I
so
knew
it's
that
like-
mask was.
It's we all wear masks, metaphorically speaking. No, I'm just kidding. But it's like this movie hit, and I was like, this doesn't really make me feel good.
Right.
But it's like, with having sat with it, the latter half of the movie, especially when I was younger, was like, this is fucking awesome. Because like I'm getting into metal now. I'm watching like music videos. So like the back half of that movie hit. The front half, I did not quite understand. I have like very brief flashes of memories of it from childhood. But the older I got, the more palatable it became, because I understood the twisted fantasy that holds a mirror to reality. And I understood that.
May I ask y'all a question?
Please.
Because
On a podcast?
yeah, you had questions will be answered. I don't know how to phrase this properly, but we were kind of skittering around the topic, and it just like, oh my god, getting the first half of the remake and comparing it to the ambiguous storytelling of the shape in Halloween 1. Do you feel that it kind of takes, I don't know how to word this, but like the mystery or like the mysticism of Michael Myers, knowing that like now he has like in this frame a static story to where he is, or the joy of just not knowing why, how, I mean, you'd know later, but like someone who just does versus
I was waiting for this question, so I'm gonna let you take
all right.
I know what I'm trying to say.
Personally, I am obsessed with. I absolutely adore the damn near Lovecraftian version of Michael.
Fuck yeah.
That John Carpenter created. That it's like, we cannot know this man. We do not know this man.
Man?
This thing.
No, yeah.
He's
just playing it up because
I mean, he is flesh and blood.
He is.
But we don't know what resides within inside. And the fact that like he made this like Lovecraftian creature of just pure evil that exists with one sole purpose of hunt and kill.
And not necessarily cosmic, but unknowable.
Yeah, unknowable. Yes, not cosmic, but just unknowable. Something that we cannot comprehend other than the fact of one word, evil. I fucking love that. Draw your own conclusions. Have your own feelings about it. People are going to love it for 18 different ways, and none of them are all the same. I think that is the coolest thing when you can get a wide breadth of audience to go, did you take it this way? No, I didn't. But I'm still affected the same way. That shit's so fucking cool. I prefer that to Rob Zombie's.
Same.
This is a man who is evil.
And we're going to tell you why he's evil.
And we're going to tell you how we got there. But as an isolated thing, I do really appreciate the attention to detail that was taken to get there. It's having come up with like this entire backstory of what actually happened on that fateful night.
You can tell he thought about this for fucking decades. You know what I mean?
Like and it's like, and I can say that too, is like because he has like he wrote, directed, produced, and even scored. Well, didn't score. He was music supervisor and in production. But it's like hands-on, beginning to end.
The whole way.
So it's like, yes, this was
labor of love,
very crafted and
passion
precise
project.
of every single thing that he did. And also, it's like huge horror nerd being handed the keys of the kingdom like that.
Yeah.
I'd be giddy.
You would be giddy, but you would also be shitting yourself.
Yeah.
Like, he must have been like, I can't imagine the pressure he was putting on himself.
I cannot think that he would be sitting there going, okay, I'm going to be doing Halloween. It's like, oh, no, I got this. I've been thinking about this for fucking years. There's no way he knew. There's no fucking way.
Check my mood board.
Yeah, it's right there. I manifested this.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Sherry did. I don't know. She seems kind of hippy-dippy, witchy.
Yeah, she does.
But no, I think out of the two options before me, I really like the unknowable. How do you feel?
Oh, thanks for asking. No. So
How are you feeling?
I very
Pretty
much
good. How are you?
I very much agree with that take. This is the question I was waiting for. But no, I very much agree with that take. I prefer the epic scope and the just like the power behind the unknowable, and I think that is so much more like disturbing and effective, and things that we've seen play out like so successfully in like It Follows. You know what I mean? That's a movie that's very much. I was kind of gonna say like, oh, where have we seen the influences? But I'm just bringing it out now.
Yeah.
Like, you see it in A Violent Nature. You see it in these like unstoppable, just like killing machines. But again, it's not about like toughness or strengths. It's about like why can it be like. I've studied physics. Like, why is this, like that, like...
Yeah. How is he able to just be around the corner if he was just walking after you?
The laws of the universe that you thought you could rely on are not reliable. Like, that, to me, is such a more, exciting horror premise, than anything else.
And it's like, if you want to break it, you can break it. Like, I've seen comics where it was, like, the idea of, like, Michael Myers just doing the slow walk, and it's like they turn around and, like, the people are running. And it's like he steps into the shadows, he's just hauling ass. And he's
I love
okay.
I do love that
shit's
interpretation
funny.
too. Yeah, exactly. It was very funny, and like you could do it both ways, and like that's why it kind of works and is so great. But like, I was gonna say like that, despite that being my primary or like preferred take on the character, we did get it in the original, right? And like you can consider Halloween 2, part of that as well. And then again, like 3 is the one-off. And then 4, 5, 6 very much kind of does a little bit what Rob Zombie's Halloween did in that it attempted to provide an explanation. You know what I mean? The original, no explanation, and it's amazing. The Thorn trilogy, like, it didn't really come in until 6 with, the Paul Rudd thing, but like, oh, okay, there's like a cult that has actually been around since like the Celtic days and the pagans or whatever, and they've actually been
taking influence from the 3rd installment in the series.
More the Irish witchcraft kind of lore heading on it, but like, I kind of dug the supernatural explanation that like, okay, there's a cult. They imbue someone with the power to sacrifice a family to better the community, and this fucking Michael Myers one just like kind of doesn't, something. There's a wire off, or we didn't get enough of his family.
There's something wrong with the soul. The soul is corrupted, and we've imbued it with too much power, type of thing.
Like it reminds me of Cabin in the Woods in that like they eventually reveal like, oh no, this is like a contract. Like we have a deal with the gods. Like if we can keep them happy, they won't destroy us. That's how I felt like the Thorn curse was very much based. Like, okay, if we can like sacrifice someone to be a killer for the community, like we're good in a cycle, but like this dude can't kill his family, or like he just keeps on going like the Energizer Bunny and we can't turn him off. Like those breaking of their own rules and consequences was interesting to me, but like obviously The Curse of Michael Myers is not like a film that like does it. So
Did you like the witchy concept though? Like out of like unknowable to like witchy to like man-made evil.
When you say witchy,
how did you feel about that?
You're saying like the
Thorn.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I liked it. I didn't dislike it. I was, again, we're viewing these in such like a after the fact thing where fans at the time, I feel like I understand their anger at every turn, because when it's new, you're just like, damn it, and you don't know if you're gonna get another shot. At this point, I'm like, it's just a matter of time before we get the next chapter or the next installment. So like I kind of don't care about getting weird with it or taking radical or
get weird, get experimental,
or remake the classic, because guess what, nothing's gonna
like
break the classic.
If somebody now took the concept for the Thorn trilogy and kind of like explored within that even more,
I'd watch a remake.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
like I feel like the
Yeah.
witchy essence of it could be really cool. Like if you turned it and was like, hey, I'm gonna explore the supernatural side of things with it. That's kind of a neat thing.
Which is why, like, I was going to say, like, when we do get a new Michael Myers era, I hope they lean into the shape. And, like, so I was going to read just a very small bit from my 1-star review of Halloween Resurrection.
All of Joe's incredible write-ups on these are available on his letterbox, as we've mentioned before.
This was one of the ones I'm more proud of, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. But I'll read the first 2 paragraphs.
Link in the bio.
It just says, it begins like, this disrespectful, hateful excuse for a Halloween movie deserves to be forgotten, and it makes sense as the final nail in the coffin of an era from which the franchise would need to pivot hard, which we discussed. Jamie Lee Curtis had the right idea in the absurd opening sequence. 5 years after Sigourney Weaver had her own resurrection with the Halloween franchise, we find Curtis with long hair in a mental institution. Lots of confusion indeed. All right, but
she had the right move, just die.
Once that's exactly quick exit, fucking done. But it then almost becomes interesting, right? It draws focus around Michael not as a cursed golem, which is a cool concept.
Oh my god, the idea of him being like a tulpa, that's fucking crazy.
That's how I understood like the curse of it all.
Hollywood, hit me up.
But not
I got an idea. Give me the keys to the kingdom. I could fucking nail it.
You could. If not that, it's like, okay, let him be like a Jungian sentinel of like the shadow self. He is just like the reflection of all of our evil, right? He is our waking nightmare.
Oh,
being.
like an evil collective unconscious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is exactly what
now
I
we're
want
cooking
to see.
that. Oh wait, hold on. We gotta cut this. Actually, we gotta cut all of this out.
But no,
TM.
What about Patreon?
That's what I wanted David Gordon Green's to be, and as I understand it,
That's what I was hoping for.
And that's apparently not what they did.
Especially when like Judy Greer showed up, and I was like, "You are not my supervisor."
All words are made up.
Mr. Blue.
But like, it almost did that because it started like, okay, once Jamie Lee Curtis made her exit, they open on like a college like philosophy course, I think, and they were discussing things, and like, I was like, okay, well, so if Michael doesn't go after like Josh Hartnett, because like he's still alive, like he's still Jamie Lee Curtis's son, like shouldn't he be going after him? If that's not what he's doing,
all of them in together and be like, they all happened.
so what does he do? Does he just stalk like a random campus? Does he go after like another Myers kid or whatever? Instead, H2O decides to do like a web series thing and whatever. But
Streamer House.
If you're not going to do,
which is weirdly more accurate for today than it was.
It was ahead of its time.
Streamer House was the whole thing like years ago. They were like, let's get Tyra in here. She's got some things to say.
That's where I remember this resurrection. MTV.
That was the TRL of horror movies.
I thought you were going to say ETV, which also E and Bravo get a lot of weird like MTV recyclables because they're all Viacom.
Are they both still networks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I don't have cable in the basement, so
it's so random. Like I saw like a Marvel.
The basement is not syndicated.
I was like, what is going on here?
But I like how we generally have like the same idea of like enjoying the ambiguous.
Yes.
Because I'm a big fan of.
I was going to ask, what was your preferred?
I'm the same. I enjoyed just seeing him as just this entity of evil, just like manifested into a corporeal body.
Just a barely man-like
we
shape.
see him get shot. We see him fall. We see him get stabbed.
Walk through a fucking glass door.
Whenever he goes through glass, that's like my favorite.
Dude,
when he's walking through a windshield,
that was the hardest fucking moment of 2 is when he just walks through that sliding glass door like it was not there.
Much like Julie Louis-Dreyfus on Veep, like just going right through.
And like one of my favorite things
or
is just
Alison
like
Brie in Community.
Which we never see. Or do we see? We do in the,
we do see
in the gas leak here. Anyway.
The strength of evil, an example in 2, lifting the nurse with a scalpel. Just with a scalpel to the back and lift it.
Much like a meat hook. But no, that is a very cool
But like,
moment.
just like, I enjoyed that. Whereas like, you don't know. And that's the fear of it, is you don't know why. You don't know who. Or even if there is a who.
Same thing when in the original when he like pins the guy to the wall.
Yeah.
Through the
Like that is unknowable strength. Like the fact that he was
Especially
able to
doesn't
pick
look like he's
someone
trying.
up.
No,
Yeah.
it's just nonchalant.
And it's like they
Zero
were
effort.
smart enough to put a slight struggle to it. Like there's just enough that the force of gravity is working against him. It wasn't just like boop.
Yeah.
Because that would be too comic.
Yeah.
Choking
No,
someone
it's a good
out with
point.
a
And then the fact that he
cord is a fine
did it
line.
slow. Like
I was going to say, despite all of that, like, those are the preferences. But if I got to get a more humanistic take, one that, like, needs to make sense, right? Because, okay, if he's not, like, a shadow figure from outer space or whatever,
then what is...
then he's got to be a man.
The motive.
Okay. But here's the thing. Much like how I love Batman
But
as a character.
could he possibly just been like a member of the Illuminati that was sent here by the aliens?
And have purple blood.
I don't know. See if a wheel hits his head and see what comes out.
Look, we're not talking true detective here. But no, I was going to say, so, okay, if you're... Similar to why I love Batman, right? Batman's so cool in part because, like, he doesn't have superpowers, right? Being a billionaire definitely would count as a superpower. But, like, there's plenty of interpretations of the character.
He's definitely one of the world's superpowers.
Where he's, not a billionaire. He's just, like, a dude who's really determined and really resourceful and, like, knows how to, like, handle business. Not that Michael Myers is like a hero of the people, but like if you're gonna conceive of him as a human man, I do love the idea, just the concept of whether he's a hero or a slasher, a human man being forced to like be like, pushed to like physical limits, you know what I mean? And like whether you're training like Rocky, like, pulling trucks in the snow, or you're just like, some god-awful hellspawn that was abused as a kid and grew up to be a 7.5 foot tall pro wrestler. You know what I mean? Like, something about that big physicality, being larger than life, like having more strength than you should, but, using it to just bulldoze folks that, like, pissed you off or got in your way, and that was their own... There is something, I think, so attractive about that.
I want to pitch this to you. Okay, so there's talks when people are, like... having conspiracy theories about certain movies being tied together and stuff like that. Stuff that is just like all conceptual. It is all conceptual.
Like spiritual sequels.
Something that just kind of popped into my head. It's stemming off of the idea of people saying that Jason Voorhees is not a zombie. Jason Voorhees is not a spirit. Jason Voorhees is a deadite. Right?
Sure. That would fit.
Yeah. In that same thought process, Michael Myers being something like the Crow.
Sure, yeah.
driven by desire.
Again, why I love
will and want, and yes,
sheer force of will.
Flesh man.
That's the vehicle.
Bullets.
But we're gonna keep on pushing, yeah.
Yes. So like that kind of a like, so if he's like the spirit of vengeance, it's like this. No, this is the spirit of evil. Like evil found this vessel.
Well, okay, so was that any kind of a speed bump for you in the 07 remake, the Rob Zombie Halloween, in that we were very much meant to sympathize with Michael? Right? Kid Michael, you're meant to sympathize with.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, look at his shitty stepdad. Oh, look at how he's looking after baby Lori.
Look at how he's getting fucking bullied at school.
Look at how he's getting bullied. Look at how he gets picked on. Look at how his mom's trying to stick up for him and like encourage the little bit of kindness that he did have at one point. And I can see a lot of fans...
Which it shines. It shines at a certain point, even during his killing spree. There is a moment where you see a hesitation.
Throughout the franchise, there's several moments where he will hesitate with kids, babies at least. He will then eventually... Like,
no, when I want to say it was in the 07, there was a moment where it was after our titular final girl. And it's like she's begging and pleading, like, because she's down and out. It's that moment of like, oh, fuck, are they going to kill the final girl? Similar to in the original, right before the wire hanger scene. It was like the moment that it's like it could all be over right now, but there's that moment of hesitation that gives a window for our final girl to get out. There is that hesitation that exists, and it's like there is that little bit of a twinkle human in his eye, specifically in the 07. That is very interesting to me. It's like you truly did think out so much of this if you were going to make him human, that it was like, well, so it's even cool a sociopathic murderer like this is just like, or psychotic, I guess, is psychopathic, yeah, can sometimes still get that glimmer of human for a moment.
I think it's interesting that you give like Zombie credit for giving him that moment of hesitation, like. And like I see what you're saying, I'm not taking it away, but like I might like argue that as being like, well, you know, they're struggling. Like she's clearly like post or like adolescent. Like I feel like I've seen him hesitate with those characters less so, right? Because like, but he didn't kill Jamie, his niece, until she was.
It's only the familial figures, though.
Well, until after she gave birth. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? In 4 and 5, when she's still like a 9 and 10-year-old and 11-year-old, like he's like going after her, but you're kind of like, is he just trying to go after her to like, I don't know, like kidnap her and then like hide her in a sewer? Like, or is he trying to...
Which is David Gordon Green would have probably directed it. Yes, he would have hidden her in the sewer.
And there were...
God, there's a better way to recut that movie. Anyway.
And is it in the original that... He comes across a baby in at least one, but I thought like a handful of instances.
No, in the original, the only like small child would have been the boy that she was. I
feel like
when she was babysitting. Same thing too with the 2018's 2018 sounds weird. 2018.
That was the first one, right?
Yeah, was the first of the David Gordon Green series. But then the babysitter is at home and the child comes and goes, "There's a monster in my closet." So it's like he doesn't necessarily go after.
It seems like you're maybe in the clear, maybe.
Yeah. But it's also, I feel like the hesitation with the kill, like the kill is going to happen and then there's a hesitation, comes from a familial tie of some type, because it almost always comes up as whether it's Jamie, whether it's Lori, whether it's whatever.
So I was always curious about like, okay, when you found Jamie, but then when he did, she was older and like there was still like a question of hesitation, but then you fucking killed her.
Well, that's also, so people have posited too that it has something to do with, then another movie did this, and I cannot remember what it was. It's not about just the kill; it's the terror. It's Jennifer's body, where it's not just about the about the terror that leads into it.
That's another Texas Chainsaw Illuminati thing, that was part of his like mission was to spread fear.
The fear and the chaos. Yes.
No, but I appreciate that as being like part of the curse or part of the magic or the ritual. In my head canon, I was kind of playing with like, oh well, is it just the fact that like he needs to get his family members? Like, is that why he was going after Lori? You know? But also I feel like the Thorn trilogy mixes it up because they can't decide if he was going after Myers, Strodes, or Tommy. What was Tommy's last name?
Oh shit.
Whatever. You know what I mean? Like those three families each kind of get in the mix, and I feel like they never really knew who he needed to target. But
Yeah, but that's when all the lines started crossing, and you know what? That's it's up for people to debate which they like the best.
I still have not seen Zombies sequel. I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, Halloween 2?
Yeah.
Halloween
I heard it goes like
Halloween's,
off the rails.
yeah, it's fucking
weird,
crazy.
so
I don't necessarily hate it because it is more Rampage. It's just full more
That's kind of
Rampage.
what I heard. I'm into that.
If you like the latter half, like the back half of the first one, the second one's just fucking that all the way.
Well, it's funny
but then it does wrap up towards the end, like a little bit.
Well, it's funny because in the 07 remake, I thought the first half was way more like kind of chaos crime. I thought it made sense, but that was more the ick for me. The second half becomes measured. It becomes like a remake of that 78 classic. And like you see the leaves crunching and blowing in the wind. And like he takes his time. And until the very end where, there's blood all over tits and everything. And I kind of did want to like just sort of get into that a little bit, just with the brutality of it all, I guess. But like it's otherwise, I feel like in the second half, mostly restrained and mostly kind of clean and like not typical.
It's calculated, yeah.
It's much
definitively more calculated. It's less chaos, but I feel like that was a good way to sell that chaos is what made this.
And then again, all I guess I wanted to say about the gruesome sort of brutality of the second half was that like I found it shocking watching it just like a couple months back or whatever. But again, like in any other context, I'd be like, this is kind of gross. This is kind of gratuitous. I really don't feel like I needed to see this. Like she looks young, but in this movie, when you're doing a remake of the OG, you know what I mean? Like it feels kind of like called for.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I would say that about any other, context, but like in that one, I was like, yeah, no, killing it, nailing it.
I just want to give a few extra shouts for actors and everyone being connected and fun stuff. So one of the fun things, Danielle Harris, who played Annie Brackett in the remake, she was actually Jamie Lloyd. In Halloween 4 and 5.
Whoa!
So that's actually a real cool
That's awesome.
Okay.
Connection to that. That was one. Tyler Mane, who was the Michael Myers, was in the same Devil's Rejects as TJ Souls.
Sorry again, Mr. Mane.
Please don't be mad at him.
And then cool thing, just like research right, Malcolm McDowell was also in Clockwork Orange, Cat People. So
that's another good weird one.
Yeah. It's like
Malcolm McDowell is definitely a champion of the weird in horror, and I so much appreciate that.
And I'm like, that's really fucking cool.
Which is cool too, because Donald Pleasance was very much the same way.
He would have been a Scream King at one point.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. And he's done countless voice acting.
He is one of those people. You hear his voice,
You'll hear
and you
him
go,
everywhere.
"Oh yeah, I know exactly."
Not for nothing. We've been talking Halloween for an hour and a half. We gotta give a minute to Donald Pleasance. Holy cow! Has there been before or since a man that can whisper scream in the face of children with more enthusiasm and gusto? When trying to save them, but also very much scaring them in the moment, I feel like.
Nothing beats if we're giving him his flowers right here, nothing beats the moment when Michael's laying dead in a pool, and they're like, oh, it's finally over, and Donald Pleasance goes, nah, bam, 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 bam. And he gets fucking thrown out of a window 5 minutes later.
But also, what Shakespearean Central Park troupe did he walk out of from that he was always just bringing this transatlantic, oh no, you did not know what the true face of evil was until you looked into the face of my patient. And you're just like, what? Huh? Speak up.
Or down? I don't know.
My no for him is just that the Dr. Samuel Loomis.
He definitively is.
Prince of Darkness.
Yes. Oh, no, John Carpenter.
Yeah. Very good.
Best buddies.
But no,
that's a very underrated in John Carpenter's filmography. I feel like if you haven't gone into Prince of Darkness, get into it. It's fucking cool. Yeah.
Donald Pleasance, R.I.P., and just such an indelible figure. Even when they were even when we couldn't get Jamie Lee Curtis, boom, he was there. I
also love how tired he was starting to get further into those when they were kept bringing him back.
I think he was getting sick as well.
He was getting sick, yes, but it was
illness.
you could tell also at a certain point he was really not into the script at all, and he was just sort of, it's Michael, and I gotta go get Michael again.
Did it for the fans though, and even better, right?
Michael's back at it again. I have to go get Michael, and god damn it, this child, Michael. Shoot. Are you Paul Rudd?
So
I loved you and I love you, man.
I also forgot to mention, just again in terms of cast trivia, and we mentioned, Jamie Lee Curtis being daughter of Janet Leigh. Janet Leigh was in H2O, playing like the school secretary or whatever. But like they had a scene that was very much like mom and daughter, vibes or whatever.
There's a lot of family surrounding these productions, which is cool.
Well, I was going to say, in addition to...
whether it's found family or actual family.
Like, Donald Pleasance's always coming back when he was alive and able. When he wasn't, the legacy person, cast member, they were able to get back in H2O, which is the good 90s one, not Resurrection. But then Loomis's, like, assistant, like the nurse lady that was always at Shady Oaks or Glen Oaks. What was the hospital, the mental hospital? There's a band named after them.
Oh my god!
But anyway, I just wanted to. I was trying to shout out the.
Yeah, it's one of those like.
Is it Nancy Stevens? I believe is Marion Chambers.
Pick a nature thing and then put Oaks next to it, and it's one of those. Yeah,
it's one of those. But
is Shelby Oaks? Is that?
I kind of think it is. I think that's maybe what it's named after. But anyway, I was looking to shout out Nancy Stevens. She is the actor who had always played. Marion Chambers, who was Dr. Loomis's like assistant at the mental institution, but her first name was Marion, which is a reference to the character from Psycho.
Oh, very cool.
So just again, the connections, the efforts toward nods and homages and all that.
Wink, wink.
But yeah, I think that about covers everything we needed to mention, unless there was anything else about. Looking forward to Halloween things in the future. Isn't there? So isn't the new thing going to be?
We are leaving out the David Gordon Green stuff.
Yeah, we didn't really.
But I will say just for that, like
I haven't watched those in all.
Honestly, if I could dumb it down to one word, it's just disappointing.
I really wanted to get Zombies Halloween 2 before I watched in full.
Absolutely.
So that's where
if you guys have any thoughts about that, please let us know, because it's for me disappointing. I feel like there's so much more that could have been done with the story, especially the way they decided to wrap it. They could have kept going with the spirit of evil type of thing and pass it on to the other guy that was in the sewer with him, but that's another story for another time.
Which is something though that they were playing with in Curse of with the Paul Rudd bit and all, but like that was sloppy and whatever. But I was gonna say are they not? I was going to say it's interesting with David Gordon Green because while fans found, I think, the trilogy as it was, pumped out super quick within like 3 years, which, whatever. But it was at least enough of success for the studio heads and the execs to give him the Exorcist trilogy that ended up being one movie because everyone fucking hated it. David Gordon Green's Exorcist Believer did not light the world on fire, and then it got handed off to Mike Flanagan for a hot second, but now he's not doing it.
And then Mike Flanagan got out of that contract. Yeah, so. You know what? Good for him, because if Mike Flanagan pulled out of a contract, I have a feeling that there's a good reason he did that.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, so as I mentioned earlier, it probably is just a matter of time before we get another Halloween. We get a new Michael Myers. Do you guys have any specific hopes or predictions, or just that we get more of the Shape and less of anything else?
I would love to see the Philippou brothers take it.
Oh, that would be a good question. Are there any specific directors you think could... You know what? They would get the visceral aspects of it. And not for nothing, Rob Zombie was some
weird, tortured family type of deal. Like, they've done it. They've nailed it before. They've hit taboo subjects and made you feel uncomfortable in a way that you would possibly rewatch it again, though.
And that's an exact description.
It's a train wreck.
Get that knife away
from me. Of Rob Zombie. Like, he was a filmmaker I couldn't vibe with, but, like, I eventually respected because he fits so well in this franchise. That's another one where it's like... I loved Talk to Me, but I don't think I'll ever rewatch it. Bring Her Back, I think is very effective, but I'll never rewatch it.
And then we're getting Talk to Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
and then there's going to be Look Who's Talking to Me Now, too.
I'm gonna assassinate.
Is there a filmmaker that you think could really nail Halloween?
I'm not as filmmaker savvy as y'all are.
I don't even have an answer.
I personally would I would like them to try another take on the occult.
I would too.
Yeah,
I'd be happy with that.
I'd be fine with
it a cyclical thing,
a thoughtful one that like makes sense and has good rules and blah blah blah. But like, I'd be
either that or I mean, like, you can't go wrong. If it's not broke, don't fix it. In regards to just having the Shape,
I wouldn't want it to be like another
not a carbon copy
straight slasher though. Like, I wouldn't like. I love a good let's do a classic slasher, but like that's not what Halloween should be for at this point in time. Like, not in the 21st century. We did enough of standard Halloween, let's only get highly conceptual and kind of weird and a little prestige-y. Because, again, it's not Friday the 13th.
All right, hear me out. So we get Philippou Brothers to do a new version of the Thorn trilogy, where they're exploring the supernatural and the evil that men do type of thing.
Much like the mythology around Bring Her Back.
Yeah. And then on top of that, hear me out. We either bring back Malcolm McDowell as Dr. Loomis, or we do a young Dr. Loomis, played by Dan Stevens.
Oh! I would watch it. I'm not against a prequel.
And then our...
Make him German.
Yeah, there it is. and then we can either go one of two ways. I would either go Micah Monroe as our final girl, or
It follows.
I feel like Hunter Schafer could fucking destroy this shit.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't that be so fun? Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevens.
Again.
Speaking of, like, who would be...
Cuckoo Halloween.
maybe the final girl.
Bring her Cuckoo Halloween.
As opposed to, like, the directors, like... Did you have any thoughts about... I don't even remember the woman who played Laurie in the remake. Like, I thought she did a fine job.
Scout Taylor Compton.
And I kind of liked that she was more anonymous than Jamie Lee
Scout.
Curtis.
Yeah, another one of Rob Zombie's alum.
But it's kind of crazy that, like, my God, you know, the Laurie Strode character, who do you get for her? Someone that we, you know, is fine. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't a big name. It wasn't like a, you know, a huge thing, but...
But these are all...
Sorry, I was just scanning my list to see...
These are all wishes, though.
if there are any good filmmakers that I would love to...
If you have any ideas of who you'd want to play, or even...
Send us your Dreamcasts for this. Like,
that'd be so
really
cute.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was going to mention maybe, like, I think Aronofsky could do it.
Oh, that would be twisted.
He was my favorite for a long time, and
that would be twisted. I feel like it would be very physical, though. It would be like...
That's what I mean. I want someone that could...
what about Infinity Pool?
Cronenberg.
The son Cronenberg. That could be weird, especially if you're getting...
if they went back with used a Skarsgård man. Tall Skarsgård could be tall Michael Myers.
Oh. Well, if you guys are good, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think more of my dream director for the next
Halloween. Well, I mean, if you guys have any, hit us with it. Like we love hearing from you. The text messages, the comments, the messages on our social media. It's all been so great. We are doing this, and this is like what, our 12th episode now? 13th?
No,
this is number 14.
This is 14. Oh my God!
Right.
So we've been doing this for 14 episodes, and it's so cool to see how people have been taking it, what they like, what they don't like. Please share it all with us. We love to hear it.
No bad engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. That will about do it for us at the podcast downstairs. We hope you had as much fun as we did. Catch up on our previous episodes on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts from. You can also find us on TikTok and Instagram. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow, all that fun stuff. We'd love to hear your thoughts on things. We'd like to thank our producer and tech wizard, Don, as well as Not Great Entertainment for all the help setting up the pod. It is the holiday season. We're in that Halloween hangover until things are just going to get dark and dreary. Please take care of yourself. You are loved. This is a hard time of year for a lot of people, and that's why we have our community built up around it to just cushion us out from everything besides that.
We said it earlier about the dark corners and how, you know, horror folks will surprise you possibly in being like some of the most supportive and emotionally intelligent. Mm-hmm. And, you know, if you need it, that's something that we're here for. We will read the comments. We will engage with you. So if you somehow hear us, we can hear you. So don't be afraid to reach out.
And let us out of the basement, damn it.
Mm-hmm. And then, well, I mean, until next time, stay out of the basement.
Glad we mentioned Black Christmas, and then that can be less of a surprise for our next episode.
Prolonged eye contact, prolonged eye contact, prolonged eye contact, prolonged eye contact. Yeah, we should have hit him with a freeze frame.
Like Pearl.
Let's hit him with a freeze frame. Good night, everybody.
I like the Bo Burnham prolonged eye contact chant.
We're freeze framing. Bye.